Chosen one, pause and breathe, because this moment is not an accident. Heaven scheduled it. The very fact that your spirit was drawn here is proof that something in the unseen has shifted in your favor. Right now, you're on the verge of a supernatural turning point. An appointment set by God that happened long before you knew what He was doing inside you. You are not just watching a video, anointed one. In response to a call from heaven, you are here. Since years ago, you've felt the pressure, the shaking, both. It was all planned out. You were being trained for a level of power and wealth that only a few people are able to reach through every test, delay, and secret battle. God doesn't give billions of dollars to people who aren't ready for them. He gives them to hands that have been honed by fire, made weaker by process, and made stronger by purpose. You have been chosen. The wealth that is coming your way is not about luxury. It has to do with assignments. It has to do with prophecy. It's about how heaven paid for something that earth tried to stop. Because it says in Habakkuk 2:3, the vision waits for a certain time, and your time has come. Let your spirit out. Get close. What's about to happen will help you remember why God chose you and the role you were meant to play. Picked. When heaven moves in your life, the change doesn't usually come with a lot of noise. At first, it's quiet, like a pressure in your spirit that you can't explain. It's like a knowing that won't go away, or a vision that seems too big for the tools you have. That weight has been on you for a long time. You feel a pull towards something bigger than anything you've ever seen. The reason is easy to understand. You are in the early stages of a supernatural rise that is already happening all around you. Even if your eyes aren't quite there yet, blessed one. Heaven was planning your steps very carefully, which is why some doors shut quickly and others opened slowly. The path you took wasn't by chance. Every wait, every disappointment, and every time the resources didn't match the calling was a divine plan to bring you to this moment of revealing. I know how it feels because I've been through times like that myself. There were times when the vision in my heart felt too big for my life. There were times when I asked God why He showed me something that seemed too big to be true. But now that I think about it, He taught me that being big doesn't mean you can't reach your goals. This shows that the vision didn't come from me, but from the person He chose. That dream you have been carrying around is too big for nature, and it was never meant to be paid for by nature. Heaven has been getting you ready for wealth that comes from God's work, not your own desires. The calling on your life isn't the kind that fits into small expectations or comfort zones. You need a supernatural source for this kind. The kind that breaks cycles, fixes systems, brings communities back together, and rebuilds places that other people have left behind. So that's why your spirit has been tense, why you've felt like you have a heavy load that won't go away. Why does the dream keep coming back, even after you've tried to forget about it? When God frees you from a burden that will last forever, it keeps you from sleeping. It gets bigger. It pulls. He always knew you could become the person you are today because of it. This is where the revelation starts to take place. You are a billionaire because God called you to be one, not because it was easy. The problem you've been given needs resources on a scale that few people are willing to believe will heal the systems when you put your hands on them. You are going to rearrange the voices. You will make the generations bigger. The people you touch will be set free. These aren't big jobs worth $1 million. These jobs are worth $1 billion. Heaven can see the whole picture, even if you can't yet. The change you want to bring about is so big that resources below those of a billionaire would not be enough. Anointed one, I have seen God get someone ready for something so big. Before the blessing, something breaks. The emptying comes before the rising. Before the plenty comes the pruning, which gets rid of anything that would fall over under the weight of the glory. I remember times when faith was all I had left. There were times when it seemed like heaven was quiet. There were times when I wondered if I had the calling wrong. And every valley taught me how to hear his voice. Every hard time taught me to be humble. Every delay taught me to trust God's timing more than my own. Chosen one. That's how your story goes too. You didn't just happen to make it through what you did. You were able to stay alive because you were learning how to be responsible. You weren't weaker because of the pain. It made you. The problems didn't keep you from winning. They made you better. Being alone didn't kill you. It showed you what was going on inside. You are living proof that God doesn't skimp on divine tasks. He makes sure that the burden and the blessing are the same size. And the load you're carrying is too expensive to be paid for by anything less than abundant provision from heaven. The rest of the world might not get why your dreams are so big, but heaven does, because it wrote them. This is why the weight of countries, neighborhoods, families, and broken systems is on your heart. This is why people who think small are scared of your vision. That's why your destiny scares people who have settled for less. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community, through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site, you are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build a global altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today. Join our community and see what God brings back into your life. When God picks someone to wear such a heavy robe, the preparation is hard. But the purpose can't be stopped. Chosen one, now is the time to wake up. Heaven isn't telling you to narrow your view. Heaven is making you stronger. God is not telling you to be rich the way the world does. He is getting you ready to change the way you think about what supernatural wealth looks like when you give it up. You are now being led into divine abundance by the same hand that held you in the wilderness. The reason is easy to understand. Your calling is huge, and heaven is about to give you the money to follow it. Picked. We are going to learn more about this revelation, so I want you to open your spirit even more. What I am about to say is not just information. It is passing on. This is where heaven starts to match your identity with your job. You've always felt different. Your journey has been unique, and your life has been under more pressure than those around you. That's because the mantle on your life is heavier too. It was never your job to be responsible for everyday things. You were chosen to have a huge impact on future generations, and that kind of impact can't be put on someone who hasn't been tested. God led you through fires that burned away the parts of you that would have given out under stress. He had to get rid of the voices that couldn't lead you to your destiny. You had to be alone with him so you could hear him well. It felt like abandonment, but it was really alignment. The kind of alignment that only happens when heaven is getting someone ready for a supernatural rise. Beloved one, God doesn't give someone money when He picks them to be a billionaire chief executive. First, He gives them weight. Be patient in the Spirit. Wait with kindness. Wait to make a decision. Be responsible and wait. That's why the things that other people don't care about hurt your heart. That's why unfair treatment bothers you more than it does other people. That's why you want to fix issues that everyone else has grown used to. Being sensitive is not a sign of weakness. It shows that heaven made you to help people who are hurting in a way that hasn't been done in generations. I know this for sure. There were times I wished I didn't have to care so much. There were times when I wished I could turn off the stress. But the kindness wouldn't go away, no matter what I did. At the time, I didn't understand that the burden was proof of the calling. The same is true for you, chosen one. This strong reaction of your spirit to broken systems and hurt people is because you have a healing mission. You wear the robes of a reformer. You have the heart of someone who has been through fire and not let it make them cold. Because it came from pain, your compassion costs a lot. Kindness that comes from pain is the kind that changes the world. This is why God picked you. You know how painful it is to be forgotten. You know how painful it is to have nothing to start with. You know what it's like to be hurt by silence, betrayal, and lack. You didn't let it break you. Instead, you let it teach you, soften you, and grow you. That's the kind of heart that heaven can trust. Picked. You were meant to be a billionaire, so God made you one. Your wealth is not meant to boost your ego. It's meant to make your effect bigger. It's meant to make you reach farther. Making the compassion you already have more structured, planned, and big is what it's all about. A problem can be cared about by anyone, but it can only be solved by a chosen person, and that person needs resources. When God gives someone billions of dollars, it's because the problems linked to their name need a big solution that can only be found with supernatural money. This is something you've felt in your heart. You tried to make the vision smaller to fit the resources you had at the time. But something inside you wouldn't let you. The more small your dreams were, the safer they felt. Your spirit pushed back. Life got hard every time you tried to settle down. That pain wasn't a punishment. It was a divine disturbance. God will never, let one of His chosen people settle in a job that isn't right for them. You have been led through times when you had to walk by faith alone, just like the prophets did in the past. There were times when you could only trust. There were times when God's silence made you find Him in new ways. There were times when the only thing that kept you together was the belief that your story could not end in lack. Those times did not mean that God had forgotten about you. They were like a spiritual gym where He built your endurance to help you become a billionaire steward. People who are rich but not mature are destroyed. Rich people who don't get better become corrupt. Rich people who don't have a spiritual foundation become blind. But you, the Anointed One, have been cleansed of everything that could have made you bad. You no longer have anything that could have blinded you. He has taught you to depend on Him, so that the wealth that comes to you flows through a vessel that is not focused on itself. That's why heaven has been so careful with you. You did well on tests you were not even aware of. You chose honesty, even though it would have been easier to give in. During times when keeping everything would have made more sense, you chose to be kind. When fear was stronger, you chose faith. You picked a goal over a fun thing. These choices helped you get ready. Heaven saw that they could trust you with power, influence, and overflow because of the choices you made. Chosen One, what you've been through isn't normal because of what you're being asked to carry. Different processes and steps were taken to make you, because the job that you have in life requires someone who can carry spiritual weight without falling apart. Beloved, the next part of your journey is not about working hard. It has to do with lining up. Heaven is setting up chances, connections, ideas, plans, and resources that will help you get rich faster than usual. This transfer is also not a mistake. It is aimed at. It was done on purpose. It is only for people who have let God shape their character in the deepest parts of their lives. You are one of them. You have been set up to do this. This is something you were ready for. You've been given points for this. The money isn't just a blessing. It has to be done. And the command is about to come true in ways that will confirm what your spirit has been telling you. Pick it. I want you to pay attention to what is going on in your spirit right now as we move into the next part of the message. Something is stirring, getting tighter, and waking up that feels almost electric. Feelings are not like that. That is lining up. When heaven starts to prepare a chosen one for a supernatural wealth mantle, signs usually show up in the spirit world before they show up in the physical world. You feel like you need to go in a direction you can't quite see yet. You start to outgrow places that used to be comfortable for you. You start to feel that the things that used to make you happy don't fit the person you're becoming anymore. Heaven is telling you through this holy dissatisfaction that the time you are entering needs a different version of you, a version that is in line with divine intelligence, divine plan, and divine wealth. Beloved one, you have already been through the hardest part of getting ready, but you don't know it. The seasons you spent in the wilderness made you smarter. The empty seasons made you more thankful. The lonely times changed the way you hear. The hard times made you more compassionate. Every time you felt like you were being ignored, it was heaven protecting you from being seen too soon. Because you were not important. You were not hidden. You were hidden so that you could get better. As a chosen person, God doesn't let them go until the weapon is fully formed. You were formed in fire, so that nothing that goes against your calling can break you. Picked. Heaven knows that the stress you were under made you stronger, not smaller. People around you gave up during storms that were not as bad as yours, but you kept your faith through hurricanes. Others whined about problems, but you learned to pray your way through them. While other people cursed their problems, you used yours to grow. You didn't know it at the time, but each of those responses was helping heaven decide whether to trust you with the management of a billionaire's estate. Someone who has been through hell will not be overwhelmed by wealth. People who have already given up their ego will not be corrupted by influence. People who have learned to put God above all else will not be distracted by opportunities. You were built by the breaking. The rising will show who you are. There's one more reason why heaven picked you. Picked. You don't think little. Your spirit wouldn't shrink, even when things were at their worst. Your vision was always full, even when you had no money in the bank. Some part of you wouldn't stop dreaming, even when other people didn't believe in you. Heaven knew what it meant, even if you didn't. Rarely are people able to carry their vision without any resources. A lot of people want to be sure before they move. A lot of them need money before they can act. A lot of people want to feel safe before they obey. You moved with nothing, though. You had no reason to believe. You did what they said without anything. That's why heaven will give you everything. Before the blessing comes, God always gives money to the person who obeys. Beloved one, rich people make plans for comfort. You've always been focused on your work, even when you didn't have the words for it. Billionaire chosen one's plan for a job. Things that matter to you more than looks are impact and image. Your brain thinks about solutions instead of how things are going. You imagine whole systems changing not just things getting better for you. That's not a mistake. That's how wiring works. You have a mind that sees the world not as it is, but as it could be. It's dangerous for darkness to have that kind of mind, because darkness loves being still. But you, the chosen one, were born with the urge to fix what's broken and make something new. Heaven picks these kinds of people to be billionaires because having money changes you, not tempts you. Now I want to talk about something very personal. You often asked yourself why you were carrying things that weren't yours. Why you thought you were in charge of people you didn't know. Why you shed tears for places you had never been. What made some wrongs hurt your heart so badly? It's because you weren't just feeling empathy. You were going through assignment. The things that God gives to His chosen ones are never meant to be emotionally heavy. It is for taking care of in the future. What hurts you today will make you rich tomorrow. The tears you shed were like prophetic seeds that grew into the missions you were born to support. You must fully understand this, chosen one. You're not going to get rich and run away from the world. You can change things because money is coming to you. Your name being linked to a lot of money is not meant to put you in a lonely place. This will set you up to be a reformer, a builder, a liberator, a healer, a voice, and a foundation for people who come after you. You are being trained to be a strong financial leader in the kingdom. Someone who has power, not for their own pleasure, but to make a difference, and to have an impact at your level. You need resources at heaven's level. This is the reason why the war against you has been so fierce. It fights what it fears, and what it fears most is a chosen one with power. Beloved one, the change that is happening now can't be undone. God's timing has sealed the doors that are now opening. It's written in your spiritual record that you will be raised up long before you even pray for it. And the money that is coming your way is not a coincidence. It's a message. Heaven is getting you ready for a role that can only be filled by a vessel that has been changed, refined, and given up. There really is a mantle. The time has come. You're ready now. Your spirit may already be aware that you are at a turning point, even if you can't feel it yet. Chosen one, as we go deeper into this prophetic unveiling, this isn't making things up. This is being recognized. The inside of you is starting to understand what heaven has known about you since the beginning of time. You were created to handle big tasks, not small ones. You were made to have an impact, not be unimportant. You were meant to make a lasting impact, not just short-term success. Every divine whisper, spiritual nudge, and time your heart felt pulled toward something bigger was heaven reminding you who you really are, beloved one. People whose spirit grows bigger than their surroundings long before their circumstances do is one of the clearest signs that God has picked them for a billionaire level purpose. You're no longer in the same kind of relationships that helped you reach your goals and deal with your limitations. That's because your fate has been getting bigger behind the scenes. Even though the outside world seemed to be still, your spirit was changing, growing, and stretching for the next part of your assignment. This growth is the reason you've been going through so much internal conflict. You've felt torn between the person you used to be and the person you are becoming. You have felt tense because you know there is more for you, but don't know how it will happen. You know how frustrating it is to carry a vision that seems too heavy for this time in your life. But you need to know something very important. That stress is spiritual expansion. Heaven has been getting ready to give you a new level of purpose. And every spiritual contraction you felt was a sign that something amazing was happening inside you. I know this for sure. In my own life, there were times when I felt like everything was being taken away at once. The safe places felt too small all of a sudden. The chances I used to be excited about started to feel out of place. I no longer feel at home in the dreams I used to chase. It felt like loss at the time. But after a while, I realized it was heaven calling me out of comfort. You, the chosen one, have been going through the same divine transition. It looked like rejection, but it was really redirection. What seemed like loss was actually freedom. It looked like things were going wrong, but God was really just letting go of parts of your life that weren't supporting the next level of your purpose. That's why you couldn't settle down. Your spirit wouldn't negotiate with fate, even when it seemed easier to just settle down. The greatness inside you pushed you to do better. You were made for more, and heaven wouldn't let you shrink and become a bad person. There is a special pattern in your life that shows why God picked you to be a billionaire. You've always had the spirit of a builder. There was a part of you that always wanted to fix what was broken, bring life back to what was dying, and make things better when they were stuck. People didn't see their own potential, but you did. You saw opportunities in places where other people had given up. That spirit of a builder is not by chance. It's part of your assignment. People who have the drive to rebuild, restore, and reform are given the billionaire mantle. You can handle stress without losing your purity, which is another reason why heaven chose you. A lot of people make it through hard times, but not many make it through with their hearts still whole. You did, though. Life threw you storms that should have made you stronger, but instead they made you better. It was possible for disappointments to make you angry, but they only made you smarter. Being alone tried to break you, but it only made your relationship with God stronger. Your heart is very rare. Chosen one. Heaven only gives out great wealth to people whose hearts have been tried and true. Rich people use their money to boost their ego. People whose hearts are hurt use money to feel better. But people like you changed, healed, and gave up, using their money to do so. This is why God can give you billions of dollars. Not because you are perfect, but because you have been made clean. Picked. Another holy thing about you is the way you love. You care a lot, sometimes more than you should. People don't believe how quickly you forgive. You heal quietly and don't need to be told sorry. People didn't show up for you, but you did. Those patterns have hurt you, but they have also shown you how deep your soul is. That level of depth is important for your calling, because the money you have must help people, not just your family. Someone whose compassion is real, not fake, is being raised to heaven. Someone whose kindness isn't based on conditions, but on instinct. Someone whose heart hurts because of wrongdoing and won't stop until it heals. And that heart is what makes you qualified. You were picked because of that heart. Beloved one, the next part of your journey won't just happen. It makes sense. As the season changes, doors will open that you didn't knock on. Things will connect that you didn't try to find. You won't have to force ideas to come to you. This is proof that God orchestrated everything. Heaven is speeding up the things you have been making plans for in faith. Now is a supernatural time when what you have will finally match up with what is coming at you. This is where reason meets means, hope meets resources, and calling meets ability. Also, the money that is coming your way is not just a blessing. It's a commissioning. You have been chosen to bring about change, come up with solutions, and fix foundations that have been broken for a long time. You already have the mantle on your spirit. Things are moving in the direction of your name, and heaven is getting ready to tell you why your journey had to be so hard. Because the task you were given is different from all the others that were chosen. As we move on to the next part of your prophetic journey, you may already feel the weight of what is happening in heaven. The more you read this message, the more clearly you will see that nothing that has happened to you was by accident. Every season that felt like it was going wrong was actually just getting ready. Every moment that felt like it was taking too long was actually the perfect pace. You cried every night, wondering why your life seemed harder than other people's. It was because you were getting ready to carry a load much heavier than most people will ever have to. Beloved one, when God picks someone to be a billionaire, they are not gently shaped. It is clear, deliberate, painful, and never ending. And that process has been going on for longer than you thought. The things that were meant to crush you carved you instead. The storms that made you think you were going to drown actually made your spiritual lungs stronger. You got better at reading hearts because of the betrayals that hurt you. All of it was heaven making you into someone who can deal with money without worshipping it, power without abusing it, and influence without idolizing it. Pick it. One of the clearest signs that someone has been marked by heaven for greatness is if their spirit knows what is going to happen long before it happens. That quiet knowing has been with you your whole life. Something inside you told you, even when you were a child, that you were different and that your path would be different from everyone else's. It told you that one day the world would look at you in ways that didn't make sense to you at the time. You didn't understand how you knew, but you did. And every time you tried to shut it down, it came back stronger. That knowing was like heaven leaving a mark on your soul. A lot of people have doubts about themselves because they don't have an inner witness, an inner compass, or a divine whisper telling them what to do. You've always had it, though. There were times when your faith was shaken, but you always knew. Even when your confidence wavered, what you knew stayed strong. Even when things in your life were crazy, the knowing whispered, "There is more for you." No, that whisper wasn't made up. The voice of your divine identity was louder than your situation. Beloved one, one more reason why heaven chose you is that you can work in times of lack without losing sight of plenty. You know that doesn't happen very often. When people lose something, their vision usually gets smaller too. A lot of people cut their dreams down to fit their budgets. When they can't see proof, most people give up on calling. You didn't, though. Your prayers were big, even when you didn't have anything. Your dreams were big, even when things were tight. Your faith was strong, even when your hands were empty. Being able to see plenty when there isn't any is one of the best signs of supernatural wealth, because it shows that your vision isn't based on money, but on purpose. People who put their faith in money will fall apart when money shakes. People who believe in God, on the other hand, will rise no matter what. And you, chosen one, have risen over and over again, even when everything tried to bury you. You have something else that heaven has seen that most people don't see in themselves. You are very strong, the kind of strong that doesn't just get through storms, but learns from them. You don't just get through hard times, you change because of them. Not only do you heal, you grow. You don't just get through things, you change. Every setback you had turned into a step forward. Every loss taught me something. Every mistake turned into fuel. It didn't stop you from your goal, that you were in pain. Your goal helped you get through the pain. That pattern is proof from God. Heaven will never give a billionaire title to someone who can't handle stress. It comes from heaven to someone like you, who can turn stress into power. Life tried to break you over and over again. You kept getting stronger. Time and time again, things tried to stop you from calling. Your spirit roared louder and louder. Picked. Let me talk about something that you might have had trouble with. Your relationships changed so quickly because not everyone could go with you on your journey to becoming a billionaire. Some people were only sent for a short time. Some were meant to teach, and some were meant to start something. But none of them were meant to sit in the seat meant for people who will be together forever. The people who left were not taken away. They were removals from God. Because elevation shows hearts, and some hearts were never for you in the first place. God doesn't let everyone see the rise of a chosen one. Heaven kept you away from people who could have ruined your calling. Every departure was a sign of divine protection that looked like sadness. Blessed one, you also have something that makes you different from most people. The power to dream and make things happen. Some people have thoughts, but don't follow through. Others are disciplined, but don't have a vision. You carry both, though. You look deeply into things and work hard. You have brave ideas and faithful actions. That combination is very rare and was meant to be. There needs to be people in God's life who can both dream big and manage big money. You are one of the few people who can do both. Heaven has been getting your mind and hands ready to hold more than you ever thought possible. Chosen one, pay close attention. You're not getting close to a season. You are getting close to a destiny meeting. The wealth that comes with your name is not a coincidence. There's no chance about it. It's not behind. It's going to arrive right on time, in line with the part of you that can carry it, manage it, make copies of it, and use it. Heaven isn't giving you money so you can run away from life. Heaven is giving you money so that you can change your life. You are being set up to be a channel of impact, a bringer of solutions, a spark of breakthrough, and a guardian of divine resources. Everything you did in the past was practice. Your present is all about getting ready for the future. And your future is all about your chosen purpose playing out in real time. Let's move on to the next part of your unfolding. Take a deep breath and know that everything you are feeling right now is divine confirmation. The mood in your life is changing not because you made it happen, but because heaven has decided it's time. When God speeds up a chosen one, the first thing that changes is not what's going on around them, but how they see things inside themselves. What seemed impossible at first starts to feel like it will happen anyway. Things that seemed far away before start to feel close. What seemed too big at first now seems like fate. You are now moving on to this stage, beloved one. The stage where heaven shows you what your spirit has known all along, but your life hasn't shown you yet. Picked. One of the most mysterious things about your journey is how God has let you go through times that don't seem to fit with your calling. You were born to have plenty, but there were times when you didn't have enough. You were picked to have an impact, but there were times when no one saw you. Even though you were called to breakthrough, you went through cycles of breakdown. At first glance, this seems unfair, but for a spiritual mind, it's a plan from God. God hides his most powerful tools in times that make them stronger without breaking them. He lets pressure build up, not to punish, but to get ready. He lets delay happen, not to deny, but to grow. And everything he let into your life was making you into someone who can handle a lot of responsibility without breaking. Beloved one, you have something very important to heaven: the ability to remain faithful, even when the promise feels far away. That is a rare trait. A lot of people are faithful when they can see what will happen. Few people stay faithful when they think the outcome is impossible. But you've been through dark times with a fire still burning in your chest. You've said prayers when you didn't think you had much hope. You came through for me, even when I was sad. There were times when disappointment tried to shut down your dreams, but you kept going. Thus, heaven has picked you to be raised. God doesn't put billions of dollars into people whose hearts give up easily. These things are put into a heart that won't let darkness decide its fate. You have that heart. Chosen one. Heaven has also noticed something unique about how you handle your responsibilities. You don't run away from it. This is not an excuse for you. You learned how to handle the things that life threw at you. You showed up even if it cost you when people needed you. This isn't right. This is what a leader does. This is how heaven knows it can trust someone. People who don't want to take responsibility don't get to be billionaires. They are given to people who accept it, even though they won't get anything in return. Your readiness to pour into other people, even when you felt empty yourself, is proof of the ability God has been making you stronger. Comfort is not a way to learn how to be a leader. It was made by giving up something, and the sacrifices you've made have given me spiritual depth that I can't teach, only live. Anointed one, the battles you fought were also meant to teach you something. The war for your life wasn't an accident. It proved what they said. What darkness doesn't see as a threat never fights back. How hard your battles were was a direct reflection of how important your calling was. Things tried to stop you every time because they were scared of something inside you. Your potential, your voice, your influence, and your kindness could all break down systems that darkness relies on. Because of this, your journey was harder than most. It wasn't because you were weak that you were attacked. People were attacking you because you were meant to be dangerous in spirit. And dangerous people are quickly picked on. I have something to tell you, chosen one. Heaven has talked to you for a long time. You're not behind. You're not behind schedule. You are not late. You are right on time with God. God will give you back everything you lost. God will make more of what you gave up. God will use everything that broke you. And God will make up for everything you went through. To see this, divine timing is different from human timing. People use age, accomplishments, and other visible signs of success to measure progress. But divine timing tells us when we are ready. Get ready with your character, your spirit, and your endurance. Now, heaven has said that you are ready. Not perfect, not ready, not finished, not formed, not finished, imperfect, chosen. You need to see yourself the way heaven does as you move into a new season. You are not the hurt person from your past. You are not the insecure child you used to be. You are not the worn-out person who was formed by trauma. You are not the broken person who was changed by betrayal. You are the improved version, the wider version, the awakened version, and the powerful version. And this version of you is being told to rise by heaven, because this is the only way to be wealthy without losing your humility, your power, your honor, or your sense of purpose. Picked. Getting rich won't change who you are. It will show what kind of person you've always been. A person who builds, gives, frees, reforms, heals, restores, and has a vision. One who doesn't use resources for their own pleasure, but to make a difference. Someone who doesn't want fame, but wants to make a difference. Someone who won't use money as a throne, but as a tool, a way to change people's lives, communities, systems, and even whole generations. This is the time of year when heaven starts to explain why you lived through everything. Now is the time of year when you can see the mantle. Now is the time when divine wealth starts to come your way, because you have an important job to do that can't wait any longer. You've already been ready. The process is done with you. You've been picked. Now, heaven is getting you ready to follow the calling you were born to do. Picked. You might not know it yet, but you are now at a spiritual level that only people reach when heaven says they are ready for their next role. You felt like you were failing or falling behind for years because you had a lot of questions, worries, and doubts. Still, God was lining up your inner world with the job that was waiting for you the whole time. Because destiny always matures inside before it shows up outside. This alignment is the start of real elevation. Anointed one, heaven has been teaching you how to see past your problems so you can finally see what's been growing inside you. The fights that seemed unfair at first now make sense. They made you stronger in endurance and discernment, and they stripped you of all the identities that didn't fit with your calling. You were always ahead. You were getting better. Now that you have more clarity, the weight of your past starts to change into fuel for your next season. Picked. Your spiritual strength lies in your ability to keep going even when it's not clear what to do. Many people stop moving when they don't know what to do, but you found a way to walk through the fog, trusting that God would show you the way when the time was right. Not many people have that kind of faith. Heaven trusts you with power because you have that kind of faith. To obey. You don't need to fully understand. You just need to be shown the way. Being obedient has made you ready for a lot of responsibility. Anointed one, you have also learned to have hope when it seems like it wouldn't make sense. To have hope. That level of toughness is not common. This is a sign of someone who won't let fear or lack of resources hold them back. Your spirit told you that something bigger was being made, even when your circumstances said that you were forgotten. That refusal to give up was not a delusion. It felt like spiritual recognition, even though you couldn't see it with your eyes. Your soul knew that the good things that were coming would make up for all the bad things. Picked. This is another strong truth. You were born with a heart that both hurts and heals deeply. Some people can't get better from wounds like you have. A lot of people become tough, cynical, or emotionally numb, but you turned your pain into spiritual authority, wisdom, and empathy. You didn't let anger get in the way of your goals. Instead, you let compassion make it stronger. One reason why heaven trusts you with a lot of power is that you can love without losing yourself. You, the Anointed One, have also shown a rare willingness to change, grow, and expand, even when it was hard. That adaptability is very important for the next task. Billionaire masks are not put on people with closed minds or scared spirits. They are given to people who can quickly change, adapt, and follow divine instructions. Your journey shows that you let go of the past. When God tells you to move on, you move even if you don't know the way. You trust even when it's not clear what to do. That means you can't be stopped. Heaven has also taken note of how you dealt with times when you had more responsibilities than resources. You learned how to have faith even when money was tight, how to be strong when help wasn't available, and how to keep dreaming even when life didn't give you any reason to. Those times strengthened my faith. They taught you not to depend on comfort, but on God. What they taught you was to rely on your vision instead of proof. And they gave you the strength to keep going even as your influence grows. Beloved one, this is why heaven has made a decision about your life. You're all set. Are you ready to go beyond your old limits? Are you ready to step into provision that fits your purpose? Prepared to carry money without becoming haughty, and ready to change things that didn't care about you before? Right now, you are not the same person you were 5 years or even 1 year ago. You are much better able to handle the blessings that have been given to you now that you are wiser, stronger, deeper, and more spiritually attuned. Being raised to heaven is only possible when character matches calling. Finally, the alignment is done. As you move forward, doors that were shut before will open, and chances that you thought were out of reach will appear. There's no chance in any of this. It is divine timing that is playing out perfectly. As you move into this new season, all the things you need will just come to you, because you have become the person God saw in you. Picked. As we move into the next part of the prophetic unfolding, I want you to feel a sacred rising within you. Your spirit is no longer reacting like someone who wants to make progress. It makes you feel like you already know that breakthrough has begun. One of the best signs that heaven is moving is this change inside us. When God is getting someone ready for a role as important as being a billionaire's steward. The first thing that changes is their belief. Instead of believing that something good will happen, you should believe that you remember who you were before the world tried to make you smaller. Beloved one, this is a strong way to remember. This is the time when your identity and the truth meet. Heaven talks to you all the time. And once identities are aligned, elevation is certain, because confusion is not allowed in heaven. It helps with clarity. Picked. Your spirit has started rejecting anything that feels small, stuck, or spiritually out of place. This is another sign that you are ready for a divine wealth transfer. Recent events may have made you realize that you no longer put up with mediocrity. Things you used to put up with now make you feel suffocated. You no longer feel comfortable in places you used to feel at ease in. Conversations that used to make you laugh now make you feel tired. This is because your spirit knows that the next season calls for stronger decisions, higher frequencies, and more wisdom. Your discernment gets a lot better when heaven prepares you for a billionaire level purpose. You grow out of old circles, not because you're cocky, but because your calling doesn't fit in those sizes anymore. You grow out of old habits not because you want to, but because fate is pulling you toward becoming the person you need to be. Beloved one, you have also moved into a time when heaven is making you more sensitive to divine timing. You have new ideas that feel like they need to come out right away. New tasks are coming up that feel like they need to be done quickly, and spiritually engineered opportunities are showing up. This is not a mistake. This is speeding up. When God starts to release supernatural momentum, time gets shorter. There are breaks. The stalemate ends. After long periods of waiting, things move quickly. You start to make progress in places that seemed completely stuck before. As you pray, you start to meet people who have the answers you need. You start to see opportunities that fit with your calling. All of these things are heaven's way of letting us know that the time has come. You are moving into what the prophet wrote about in Habakkuk 2:3. When the vision stops trying and starts talking. Picked. Let us go even further. Heaven has seen how you run your business behind closed doors, as well as your public prayers. A lot of people want to move up, but not many show consistency when things test their abilities. But you've done something very special. You were loyal when no one praised you, hardworking when no one helped you, and disciplined when no one noticed. You worked, studied, prayed, got ready, and grew even though nothing seemed to be changing. That kind of persistence shows that you are spiritually mature. and being spiritually mature is what divine promotion is all about. God doesn't bless potential. He blesses getting ready. Your preparation has been ongoing, planned, and built through hard times that would have broken most people. Every day that you showed up, even though you were down, was a seed. Every choice that was made with honesty was a seed. Every sacrifice that wasn't seen was a seed. And now, those seeds have grown up to be a harvest. Beloved one, you should also know that heaven isn't just putting you up for your own good. There are people, communities, and future generations who need what will flow through you. So you are being raised. Taking on the role of a billionaire is not about building luxury. It's about leaving a mark. It's about giving people chances that the rest of the world doesn't see. It's about changing systems that hurt people who are weak. It has to do with funding ideas that have a divine plan, giving people chances who have never had them before is what it's all about. You have the job of a savior, the heart of a reformer, and the mind of a builder. You are receiving wealth from heaven because when you give money to someone, it changes their life. This is the reason darkness fought you so hard. It didn't mean to stop your success. It was trying to stop the damage you did. But when God writes something, it can't be stopped. Picked. Make sure you fully understand this. From survival to strategy, from waiting to building, and from hoping to acting, you are making the change. As you move into this new season, the tools, connections, and insights you need will start to show up perfectly. There will be no chance in this at all. It won't happen by accident in any way. Your life is entering a supernatural rhythm in which everything starts to fit together, move faster, and make sense. You weren't picked to look for money. You were picked to carry it. You weren't picked to avoid trouble. You were picked to change it. You weren't picked to rise by yourself. People chose you to help them rise. Picked as this next unveiling starts. Let your spirit settle into the truth that heaven isn't just calling you up. Heaven is calling you to get in line with your eternal purpose. You are not being praised just because you went through hard times. You're being raised because hardships shaped, refined, and changed you in a way that showed who you really are. Beloved one, don't see yourself as someone who is trying to become something. Instead, see yourself as someone who is finally stepping into who they already are. Destiny has been waiting for you to see yourself, and now your spirit is finally waking up to how big what heaven put inside you is. Pick it. The fact that God has taught you to think about others is one of the clearest signs that your calling is worth billions of dollars. Even when you were going through your own storms, you still thought about other people. Even though you were struggling with your own lack, you still felt the need to help those who had even less. Even though your heart was breaking, you were still able to help someone else. That's not how people normally act. That is wiring from God. People who only care about themselves don't get to be billionaires. They are given to people whose kindness goes beyond their own world. This kindness is what makes people trust you. God knows that you won't hoard money when you have it. It is going to flow. It will get stronger. It will fix things. It will bring life back to dead dreams and water dry places. Beloved one, think about how you deal with pain, not just your own, but also other people's. You really feel. You see pain in ways that most people don't. You feel burdens that other people don't notice. You may have seen this sensitivity as a flaw, but heaven sees it as a quality that makes you qualified. Having an impact starts with having empathy. Only someone who knows what it's like to be broken will make the choice to rebuild wholeness. People who have felt the pain of lack are the only ones who will fight for abundance. Only someone who has been through darkness will be determined to bring light. Being sensitive is not a sign of weakness. This kind of discernment is prophetic, and it will help you be a good steward when huge amounts of money start coming into your life. Pick it. Heaven has been putting a lot of pressure on your faith because the next season needs you to have vision that can see past problems. People have taught you to see opportunities where others see problems. You know how to hear God's whisper through the noise. You have been taught to follow directions, even if they don't make sense. This level of obedience is very rare, which is why you can't be stopped from rising. Billionaire assignments need complete faith. Not the kind of faith that waits for things to become clear, but the kind that acts just because God told them to. That is something you have shown many times. Heaven wrote down every time you went against common sense and did something different. Every time you trusted God, even when things made you want to doubt. And every time you did what you were told, even though you didn't know how things would turn out. Beloved one, the change going on in your life right now isn't just about you. It goes back generations. When God raises up a chosen person, it has effects that last a long time after they die. Your shoulders are heavy with the weight of changing generations. Cycles that have been going on for decades will be broken by your rise. Your wealth will change the limits that were put on your bloodline. Because of your power, Doors will open for people who didn't have any before. The choices you make will change the paths of those who come after you. It's possible that you grew up in places where not having enough was normal, where limits were expected, and where dreams were stifled. But you will not repeat that pattern. You are going to undo it. You are going to set a new bar. You will make a new model of what is possible. Heaven is setting you up to do it with the tools you need to make a lasting difference. I want to tell you something holy, chosen one. The reason your battles were so focused is because your job is so clear. The enemy didn't just attack you out of the blue. He attacked you because that's what heaven planned for your life. Every spiritual battle had something to do with your future. If someone mentally attacked you, it was because your mind has answers. When someone hurt you emotionally, it was because your heart heals. People tried to hurt you financially because your calling needs money. There were a lot of fights in the places where you were supposed to bring the most freedom. Also, the fact that you are still standing shows that you can't be beat. You wouldn't be here if your battles were meant to kill you. You are here, though. Better, stronger, more awake, and more in sync. Beloved one, you'll understand why you couldn't give up as the season changes. Everything you went through made you into a person who could responsibly handle supernatural wealth. Being humble while going through hard times will help you be a good steward. Your choices will be based on the lessons you learned during the broken seasons. The compassion you learn through hard times will guide your impact. There was no waste. There was no chance. There was no point to anything. Heaven has been making a container that can hold both power and purity. You are that vessel, picked. These divine events are going on, and your spirit is starting to sense a truth. Your mind is just now realizing that you were never meant to live a normal life. From your earliest memories to your deepest wounds, everything in your life has been planned by God to prepare you for a role that very few people will ever have. Beloved one, the money that is coming your way is not just good luck. It is a divine assignment. Right now, heaven is getting ready to tell you why your path had to be so unique, painful, and different. You are entering a time when the things that broke you will now make you stronger. And what seemed like a setback will now turn out to be a supernatural setup. Chosen one, heaven has seen how you dealt with times that were meant to break you. You changed instead of falling apart. In times when you weren't sure what to do, you grow in wisdom. You got stronger in your faith, even when you didn't have proof. You got more patient, even when you weren't making progress. That's the sign of someone who has been picked for high positions. Few people are chosen to grow when they are under a lot of stress. You didn't just get through the stress. You got good at it. You learned how to deal with uncertainty without losing your way. You learned how to walk with God even when you couldn't find Him. Things that were important to you. Learned how to stay stable even when life shook them up. And now, those traits have become the spiritual foundation for your next level, anointed. One more reason why heaven chose being able to love with purity, even after being hurt, is what makes you unique. After being let down, a lot of people lose who they are. Their hearts get cold. They lose trust in each other. Their kindness runs out. But your heart stayed soft. You kept your soul open, even when life made you want to close down. You wouldn't let betrayal poison you, even when it hurt you deeply. You didn't turn your back on purpose, even when you were lonely at night. It's not weak to have a soft heart in a tough world. It's proof that God is keeping things safe. Heaven watched over your heart, because your wealth will make people want to help you. You are not being lifted to get more. You are being raised to get better. As this awakening grows inside you, know that helping with this mission is not a joke. It is a sign from God. You can support this work through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our Ko-Fi community. By doing so, you become part of Jesus' plan to save souls who are still stuck in fog. Every seed turns into light that fights against darkness. If you water others, you will be watered yourself. Jesus says, this is not history. It is a living promise about your future. Come into this moment with faith and a plan. What God has already planned for your life can be unlocked through your giving. Picked. Your relationship with fear has changed, which is one of the biggest changes in you. There was a time when fear ran your life and made you doubt whether you were worthy of more than just surviving. But now fear doesn't have power. You're not moving like you used to. You don't think about what you did as much as you used to. You aren't as afraid of the unknown as you used to be. You rise instead. You get closer. You get longer. You do what I say. What used to scare you no longer does, because your faith is stronger than anything else. That growth isn't a fluke. Heaven has been building up your courage, because you need to be brave for the next part of your life. It takes courage to build courage, to lead courage, to create courage, to step into places no one from your past has ever been. Beloved one, There is a reason why money is coming to you. It makes sense. It is not possible for heaven to give out billion-dollar jobs until the ship is ready. And you are now in the ready stage. Being ready does not mean that you know everything. It's about being shaped in spirit, rooted in purpose, and sure of who you are. A lot of people want money to feel important. But you already know what your purpose is in God. Most people look for money to feel validated, but you've already felt validated by being able to stay alive. Success gives most people a sense of who they are, but your calling has already given you that. That's what makes me trust you. Having money won't change who you are. It will strengthen what has already been healed, awakened, given up, or chosen. Heaven is now making connections that didn't seem possible before. Without any reason, people who hold the keys to your next level are drawn to you. Opportunities that seemed out of reach before are now easily coming your way. Now, ideas that seemed too heavy feel right. This is what happens when fate and timing meet. Your delay wasn't because you were denying something, as shown by the supernatural flow you are now in. It was getting ready. Alignment comes from preparation, and alignment speeds things up. The speeding up is about to happen like never before. God-given momentum, not crazy speed. The kind of speed that makes doors open before you even get there. Where answers show up before you even ask. Where provision shows up before you plan. This is the beat that people who have passed the character tests get in heaven. Anointed one, pay close attention. Now is the time when God won't hide what He has been doing to build you up. Tonight is the unveiling, the moment when private development turns into public display. People who laughed at you before will now see you rise. People who didn't believe you before will now see your assignment. People who didn't think much of you will now see how important your life is. But this raise isn't meant to show that anyone is wrong. It's about living up to what God wrote about you before you were born. It's time for the right version of you to come into the world, because your destiny is about to come true. You are not rising by chance, chosen one. You are rising by calling. And nothing will stop what's going to happen next in heaven. Picked. At this point in time, your spirit is starting to understand something that your mind used to find hard to grasp. Going up is not an event. It is a sign of respect. Heaven isn't just choosing to bless you out of the blue. In heaven, what has already been formed in you is recognized. For all the things you've been through, they have made you a stronger person who can handle wealth, power, and responsibility without breaking. Profit the time you are living in now, is not the start of your calling. It is the unveiling of it. What you're seeing is just the outside world waking up to the truth that has been growing inside you for years. Picked. One of the most overlooked signs that someone has been picked by God to be elevated is how heaven shapes their identity before shows up in the real world. Think about times when your spirit told you to follow bigger dreams than the things around you could support. Think about times when you knew deep down that you were meant for more, even though no one else seemed to agree. The whispers were not dreams. They were spiritual sneak peeks. Heaven was giving you sneak peeks of the life that would soon be yours. Your future wasn't ready to receive you yet, but you were meeting it ahead of time. The pressure that made you into a leader with conviction came from the tension between who you were becoming and where you were. Anointed one, heaven also saw how you dealt with times when things were not fair or just. There were times when people treated you badly when you didn't deserve it. Though you worked hard, there were times when you were overlooked. There were times when you had to carry more than your age, your resources, or your support system should have allowed. In those moments, there were no punishments. They checked the shape of the heart. Many fall apart when things aren't fair. A lot of people get angry. A lot of people pick revenge over growth. But you chose to be humble. You picked the character. You chose to rise without hurting anyone else, to forgive without being asked to, and to keep going even though you still had questions. Being that honest is hard to find, and heaven rewards things that are hard to find. Picked. You have the ability to stand on your own without losing yourself, which is another way that heaven is setting you up to have a billionaire level impact. Some people can't handle being alone. Not everyone can handle being alone. However, you learned how to get through times when no one understood you, supported you, or praised you. But your calling didn't end. You turned solitude into a safe place, not a prison. God made your hearing better in that quiet place. Your spirit. Learn to recognize His voice, even when it doesn't fit with what's going on. Being sensitive is important because billionaires chosen by God don't act like everyone else. They do what God tells them to do. You can only obey God when it's light outside, if you know how to hear Him when it's dark. Anointed one, think about the dreams that won't go away. These dreams won't go away because you're ambitious. They're in your genes. They are not from ego. They are from heaven. You were born with a blueprint inside you that can't be satisfied with just surviving. You were made with a purpose that needs you to grow. Your dreams didn't die, even when things got hard. You kept seeing even when fear tried to shut you up. Even when things didn't live up to your potential. Your spirit insisted that something amazing was happening. That level of toughness is not common. People who have this trait have been destined to be together. Picked. Heaven is also raising you up because of how you handle responsibility. A lot of people try to avoid being responsible. You put your weight on it. A lot of people try to avoid problems. You hold them close. A lot of people complain about stress. It taught you how to work. People relied on you, even though you didn't have anyone to depend on yourself. You carried extra weight because you were getting ready to carry extra wealth that doesn't belong to most people. Being able to handle responsibility well during times of lack shows that you will also be able to do it well during times of plenty. People who can't handle 1,000 don't get billions from God. But you made up for your lack with grace. And that grace is now proof of supernatural things. Anointed one, the next part of your journey will show you something very important. The things that used to make your life hard will now make your rise impossible to ignore. Your kindness will make you a great leader. Because you care, you will be a transformational giver. You will have a lot of power because you are strong. The wealth that God gives you will be safe because you are smart. Nothing about you is a surprise. Everything about you was made with purpose. Pick it. You are now getting close to the time when your planning and God's timing will come together. This is where the invisible can be seen. Here is where the promise comes true. This is where heaven says now, and nothing can say, not yet. When heaven says, now, you're all set. Your spirit is all set. Your fate is ready. And the wealth that was given to you is starting to come closer with divine speed, guided by the God who saw your whole journey and still thought you were worthy of this mantle. Picked. As you move into the last part of your prophetic journey, your spirit is becoming fully aware of what heaven has been getting you ready for the whole time. Your entire being is beginning to agree with the clear truth that your rise is not possible. It is a prophetically chosen one. Few people will ever fully understand how heavy the assignment on your life is. Also, the mantle that's on your shoulders was made just for you by heaven. Normal influence was not something you were ready for. You were made to make a huge difference. You were not polished for small tasks. You were processed for the change of generations. Now is the time of year when everything that has been kept secret, put off, or grown in silence will come out with a force that can't be denied. You carry something rare, chosen one. The power to turn things that used to bother you into tools that help you. The hurts from the past no longer hurt you. It comes from these sources. You no longer have scars from the battles you lived through. Those are the requirements. Things that broke you are now the things that make your spirit stronger. You learned how to deal with chaos without losing your way. You learned how to stay strong during times when things were unstable. You learned how to keep your soul alive even when everything else tried to squeeze out your purpose. Those traits are not by chance. These are the qualities of someone who has been chosen to manage wealth in a way that will change lives, rebuild foundations, and break cycles of oppression. Anointed one, heaven has tested your heart through times you didn't even know were tests. The times you were kind, even though you didn't have much to give. When you chose to forgive, even though you had every reason to be angry. You brought life to other people's lives, even when your own spirit was tired. These acts of kindness weren't just random, they showed a person's spiritual state. Heaven doesn't look at how comfortable you are. It looks at who you are. In storms that would have broken many, your character has stood strong. You didn't give up kindness when anger tried to take over. You didn't give up hope when disappointment tried to kill you. When fear tried to pull you away, you stayed put. That's why heaven trusts you with more than ever before. Picked. You are also moving into a new frequency of being able to tell the difference. You can start to tell what is aligned and what isn't. You can clearly see what people are trying to do. You are seeing chances that have divine fingerprints on them. You can sense spiritual changes coming before they happen. There is a reason for this increased ability to discern. It's important. For billionaire level assignments, you need to be spiritually sensitive so that you can avoid traps, distractions, and relationships that aren't right for you. Heaven isn't raising you to a place of plenty without giving you the wisdom to find your way around it. You are learning to only move based on what God tells you to do, not on fear, pressure, or other people's expectations. Your next season will be built on this ability to hear and obey. Anointed one, this is one of the most important truths about your calling. You are not getting rich because you asked for it. It's coming because the world needs what you'll make with it. Your elevation isn't about being fancy. It has to do with legacy. The goal is to heal communities that have only known struggle for generations. Making systems that give voice to the voiceless is what it's all about. It's about giving money to ideas that traditional power structures have ignored. There are chains that have been around families for decades that need to be broken. You are not being put on a pedestal to shine. You are being raised to free yourself. And freedom needs a lot more resources than most people have. That's why God picked you. Your spirit is old enough to handle plenty, and your heart is pure enough to handle influence. Picked. The new you that is coming out now is the one that heaven has been waiting for. The one that knows how valuable it is without being cocky, walks in power without being scary, leads with compassion without being consumed, and is humble without lowering its standards. This version of you is ready, in sync, and awake. And because you are ready, heaven is letting go of things that were held back in earlier seasons. Not because you weren't good enough, but because timing is important. Destiny moves at the speed of planning. Now, getting ready has met being ready. Beloved one, pay attention to this. The next thing won't happen slowly. It will happen quickly. A series of alignments, a rush of chances, a wave of provision, and a flow of divine connections. You will see doors open in places you thought were closed. You will be able to get into places that seemed out of reach before. As you work on your assignment, resources will come together around it like iron around a magnet. Nothing will happen by chance. It will all be God. You are now in a time when heaven pays for what it makes, and heaven made you to be great. You are about to enter your divine future. But remember, this breakthrough is not for you alone. Your testimony is the bridge someone else will use to reach their own miracle. Archangel Michael is inviting you to visit community through the link in the description or the pinned comment. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. By joining our like-minded community, you are no longer praying in isolation. You are adding your voice to a global sanctuary where we discuss the Word daily and stand in the gap for one another. This is not poetry when Jesus says, "Give, and heaven will open over you." On this platform, every seed you plant turns into oil for your destiny, fire for your calling, and a hedge of safety for your family. Now is your time. Step into our community prayer wall. Share your heart, and as you give, watch God multiply what you let go of. Let's finish this journey together. Visit our community now, join the family, and see your heavens open. You have been chosen, and your rise is written. Your purpose is now active. People are aware of your mantle, and your wealth is already moving toward you. What God has planned can't be stopped by anything. Picked. Know that heaven is already working for you as this word sinks into your heart. You are in your Kairos moment, which is the time that God chose for you, when purpose and provision meet. Anointed One, may every step you take be guided, every choice be right, and every door you need for your job to open easily. The moving has begun. Move forward with respect, thanks, and faith that doesn't waver. Share your declaration below if this message confirmed what God had already been telling you. Stay connected to this sanctuary of purpose. Your rise is set in stone, and heaven is still showing you what is yours. Before we get to the end of this powerful story, let's reflect on this deep truth. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. You are being invited into a protected, faith-filled community at the link in the description and pinned comment, a place where divine abundance is not just a hope, but a promise built on the Word. By heading to the site right now, you are unlocking access to a sacred community of like-minded believers. When you join our membership tiers, you gain immediate entry to powerful content, daily devotions, and divine insights that are hidden from the world. This is your chance to enter a sanctuary where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support on our prayer wall, and speedy progress toward your destiny. Do not let this moment of destiny pass you by. Your breakthrough is waiting. Join our inner circle through the exclusive link in the description. This is how you guarantee you never miss the personalized messages and spiritual warfare tools meant to elevate your life. If you feel called to deepen your connection, the link is waiting for you in both the pinned comment and the description. For those who want to amplify this work and carry the light home, you can find our guided e-books and Bibles in the pinned comment. Whether you join as a member or sow a seed through our resources, your presence and energy change the world. Take the step. Your abundance awaits.